Hi, I'm Lorenzo from Ango AI. In this video, I'll give a brief walkthrough on how to label text on Ango Hub, from uploading your files all the way to getting your annotations. So first things first, we need to create a new project. After signing up, click on Create Project right here and follow the wizard. After picking a project name, the first step will be to import our text files into Ango Hub. Files need to have the TXT extension. There are two main ways to import files. One is the simplest, and it's drag and drop. Just select your files from your machine and drop them on this dialog right here. If your text files are on a cloud storage, however, and it's important for you that they remain where they are, you can import them easily by creating a JSON file containing their names and URLs. More information on how to do this, as well as example JSON file, can be found in our documentation at docs.ango.ai under the Importing Assets section. The next step is to choose our labeling tools and categories. Say, for example, that we need to label person names, dates, and organizations. In our case, we would need to create 3 entity tools and name them accordingly. If we want to gather more information about each of our labels, we can ask labelers further questions about each entity that is annotated. For example, here, we will annotate all person names. After the annotators label the person, we can ask them to input more details about the person that they just labeled. For example, the person's gender. To ask that question, simply click on Add Classification and pick the question type that fits your needs the most. In my case, I'll pick a radio button and write my questions and answer. I'll show you how this works during actual labeling later. If we want to classify our texts, we can add a top-level classification just like so. If we want to create relations between different labels, for example, if we wanted to link a person with an organization, we can create a single relation tool right here. I'll show you how this works later on. Lastly, if you'd like for the same data to be annotated by more than one labeler, you can change that setting right here. In my case, I'll leave it off. We are ready to go. If we are the only people working on this project, we can click on Start Labeling right now. However, if we would like to invite more people to our project to act either as labeler, reviewer, or manager, we will need to go into Settings, then Members, and invite them right here. If the people you'd like to invite are not in your organization, you'll need to click on Invite to Organization and enter their email address. Once they accept the invitation, you'll be able to add them to your project in the role that you want. Once we click on Start Labeling, we will be shown the first unlabeled asset in our asset list. So let me show you how labeling works. It's actually really simple. Click on one of the categories right here on the left side and simply select the corresponding text, as if you were highlighting it. To select whole words, just double-click, then drag. If the label has a nested question inside, just right-click to open the contextual menu where you can answer the nested question. For top-level classification, just answer the question here on the left side of the screen. If you want to link 2 labels together, simply choose your relation tool, then click on the 2 labels you want to join, right here on the bottom left side of the screen. The opportunity to directly click on labels in the text will be coming soon in a future update. Now, that's it for labeling, but work does not stop here. Reviewing is also a key element in getting high-quality annotations. People who have been assigned as reviewers or managers in your project will see this button right here, Start Reviewing. If you click on it, you'll be shown all assets in the review queue. By default, the review queue contains all unreviewed assets in the project, but you can filter it in the project settings. For example, you can choose to only review assets labeled by a certain person at a certain time, or files with a low consensus score if consensus is enabled. So now we are reviewing. You can accept the label and mark it as good, you can reject it to mark it as bad, or you can fix it yourself and mark it as fixed. If you ever need to leave a comment on the text asset or on a label for any reason, you can do so using the Issue tool. Just click on the little balloon, then click or highlight the text you want to comment on. Once you press Enter, the labeler who labeled this asset, as well as all reviewers and managers in the project, will be notified of this issue so that they can respond immediately. If you want to leave an issue that's generic to the asset and not specific to a part of the text, just click on Issues here on the right side and write your issue. As a project manager or reviewer, if you go back to the project overview, you will be able to see various statistics regarding your project. From the Overview tab, you can see a breakdown of all labels created so far and general progress on the project. From the Performance tab, you'll be able to see how your labelers are performing and drill down on each to see how they're doing against the average. If you have set any benchmarks, you can see how your labelers are performing against the benchmarks here too. For more information on benchmarks and project statistics, as always, docs.ango.ai has everything you need. The very last step in a labeling project is usually the export. Getting your labels is as simple as going to the Export tab and clicking on the Export button. From this section, you can tweak how much information your export will contain, but in most cases, the defaults are all you need. The export provided is in the Ango Hub export format, which was designed to be as flexible as possible and easy to convert to other formats, should you need to do so. So that was a brief overview of labeling text on Ango Hub. For more information, you can visit our documentation at docs.ango.ai, you can contact our support team at support@ango.ai, or you can leave us a message through the chat on our website, ango.ai.